time to watch it again. Yeah, 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 oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah!
After the high-octane action of the last episode, episode 13 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes brings us a more reflective yet deeply impactful season finale. We see the aftermath of the epic showdown, crucial character developments, and a bittersweet close to this incredible journey. Hey again, Vigilantes fans, my name is Jack, and welcome back to another episode breakdown here on That Nerdy channel. This episode is packed with significant moments adapting content from manga chapters 27 all the way to chapter 30, bringing the anime story all the way into the fifth tankobon of the series. The episode kicks off with Popstep herself rewatching the thrilling Narufest concert. In a subtle manga difference, here Popstep asks Koichi about Knuckles' Duster, wondering why he hasn't been around lately, a clear sign of his mysterious absence. Now, a significant chunk of manga chapter 27 is actually skipped in this anime episode. This manga content features Koichi and the gang taking down a group of minor villains, where they don't necessarily drive the main plot. They subtly convey an important message. Those instant villains caused by trigger overdose aren't showing up anymore. Interestingly, one of these skipped villains features a design strikingly similar to Angel from X-Men Last Stand. It's a shame we missed those little details. The manga chapter then features Knuckle Duster's departure from the group, but the anime adapts this moment differently in the form of a flashback later in the episode. We then see Koichi attempting to take down a challenging mantis-like villain that proves to be far too much for him. He is forced to rely on Captain Celebrity's timely help to subdue the threat. It is a moment that highlights his limits without Knuckles Duster by his side. In another manga difference, the manga shows Popstep actively trying to promote the return of Narufest, subtly hinting that a significant amount of time has elapsed since the chaotic events of the last episode. Back to the episode, Captain Celebrity asks Koichi for some time to have a serious talk. This conversation later takes place at Koichi's penthouse, where CC bluntly explains that he doesn't like the way Koichi is dealing with villains, claiming Koichi ends up creating more work for him. Koichi, however, protests. He emphasizes that not everyone possesses the strong quirks of pro heroes and normal citizens do what they can, but when they truly need help, it's the pro hero's turn to step up and assist. However, Captain Celebrity counters, pointing out that Koichi isn't behaving like a normal citizen. He's clearly playing to be a hero. It's a truth that Koichi eventually agrees upon and even apologizes for. Just then, Makoto shows up at the penthouse to get CC for a photoshoot and some interviews. They promptly leave the scene with Captain Celebrity dramatically carrying Makoto in his arms while flying away, a clear and charming reference to those classic frames from Superman and Lois Lane. After their departure, Katsuo tells Koichi that she thinks Captain Celebrity might be right about them causing trouble with their vigilante activities, suggesting that they should probably step aside. Koichi then explains a worrying new development. There have been villains lately who do not transform back to human form, even after being knocked down. They've been completely different from the regular trigger users from before. In another anime difference here, the manga shows Koichi taking a look at Knuckles Duster's old stuff hanging over a bulletin board, but the anime takes a different approach. The bulletin board will show up later in the episode, and instead we see here Koichi looking at a wall and wondering if he should carry a weapon or accessory, just like Stendhal or Knuckle Duster did. Katsuo talked to him, stating that simply informing the pro heroes about these villains should be enough, and it's not his responsibility to take on every villain that shows up. Following this, the manga features some panels showing a bad villain chain up and claiming he's the fastest being. These panels were completely left out of the anime. The anime then skips to a crucial meeting with Aizawa, Nemuri, and Detective Tsukauchi, discussing these next-level villains in a meeting room. This is a big deviation from the manga, where we see this entire conversation taking place at the Narufest. This brings a whole lot of changes to the anime adaptation, like Nemuri being shown wearing casual clothes and enjoying the festival, while Aizawa is taking a look at Teru, who we now see in his apparently permanent transformation state. The manga also shows Detective Naomasa wondering if Koichi is the vigilante he's been looking for, but then checking his notes and realizing he's looking for the cruller, not the crawler. Back to the anime's version of the meeting, Detective Tsukauchi explains that there's a new kind of villain, a variant of those instant villains from before. He elaborates that Teru's transformation is permanent, and that's also the case for other villains whose transformations were apparently induced by lethal trigger overdoses. Tsukauchi continues, explaining to Aizawa and Nemuri that Tero and those other new villains all underwent this permanent transformation after having gone missing for several weeks or months. Nemuri immediately deduces that this must be the work of an organization, not just an individual. Aizawa notes that if that's the case, what could possibly be the reason for it? He wonders how villains rampaging around the city could bring any benefit to anyone. After that, we see an scene exclusive to the anime, where Number 6 is holding the last bee he captured at the end of episode 12. This subtle visual clearly implies that the bee parasite and its connection with Queen may coming back later in the story. The anime then jumps back to the renewed Narufest celebrations. We see a commercial displaying Ingenium and Captain Celebrity in action, commercial to celebrate the reopening of the highway. Amidst the recording crew, we see Number 6 softly pausing, waiting for his chance to unleash an attack. Back at Narufest, Koichi unexpectedly joins the show as the special guest because Captain Celebrity couldn't make it to the event. We see Koichi singing for the audience and even the Feather Twins praise him for not being bad at it. We're then taken back to the commercial recording, where Number 6's malicious actions cause two trucks to collide, releasing the bad villain in the process. He goes rampaging over the highway, immediately searching for Koichi. After leaving Ingenium behind, Captain Celebrity sets off in pursuit, but can't catch up until after the villain has captured Koichi from the Narufest show. Luckily, Sissy takes down the villain and saves Koichi just in the nick of time. A time jump occurs after this event, taking us to Koichi finding Knuckles, Dr. Knuckles, and Mask wondering if his mentor left them for him to claim. We then get a flashback displaying some of the content that was skipped from the manga, where they explain that none of the villains they've dealt with lately seem to have been regular Trigger users. Knuckle Duster explains to Koichi that the people they're after won't just give up that easily. He then quietly leaves the scene, rejecting Koichi's invitation to hang out at his place. Makoto shows up at Koichi's place and states that she keeps missing the chance of having an interview with Knuckle Duster. She enters to talk to Katsuo, and we see Koichi go on cleaning Iwao's knuckles, a sign of his lingering respect and connection to his mentor. We are then taken to the hospital, where we see Soga taking care of an awakened, beating down Tamao. It's a heartbreaking sight. She doesn't recognize Soga, and her arm falls limply to the side because she has lost control over that part of her body. She asks where her dad is. Just then, Iwao enters the room with a big smile, placing a hand on Soga's shoulder and letting him know he's taking over from here. It's a moment of profound relief for Iwao, finally reunited with his daughter. Tamao then asks about her mom. Iwao responds that she has just missed her and can't see her right now. We then see a devastating flashback when Iwao had arrived at the hospital after his fight with Hashizuka, only to find his wife in an emergency condition. We are shown what seems to be the final tragic fate of Iwao's wife. It's implied that she didn't make it. Iwao, with incredible strength, tells Tamao that she has nothing to worry about because he is here now. A father's heartbreaking lie meant to protect his fragile daughter. Back at Koichi's home, Katsuo has brought a bulletin board for Koichi. He hangs it on the wall and starts filling it with a bunch of pictures, chronicling their time together as a team. It's a touching moment reflecting on their journey. The episode ends with Koichi narrating how a person can always rely on his memories. He fondly remembers Knuckle Dusters and their time together, and we learn that they only went along together as a team for some months of that first year. The episode closes with Koichi stating how time passes and seasons come and go, leaving a truly nostalgic aftertaste as the anime season closes. It leaves us longing for more, hoping we get more episodes in a potential second season, which should be released in 2026. And well guys, that's all for the episode. I really loved seeing Tamao awake and how Iwao remained incredibly strong for her, bravely hiding the tragic fate of her mother for later. It shows his immense paternal love. I also really liked how Katsuo is so utterly in love with her own performance and can't contain her enthusiasm. However, I have to say, the episode was in general a little bit flat in terms of plot progression, especially considering it's a season finale. It didn't bring too much new to the overarching story, despite its carrying and changing substantial content from the manga chapters it was based on. For this reason, and despite the strong emotional moments, I will give this episode a personal score 7 out of 10. And what do you guys say? What were your thoughts on this season finale? Are you also happy to see Tamao awake? What do you think her future holds? And well guys, that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching the video. Remember to like and subscribe to support the channel for more content like this, and until next time.